So who is Matt Smith? He runs the number one team in Missouri. He's been named on Inc.'s 5,000 fastest growing company 3 years in a row. He is a coach for the legendary coach of all coaches, John Sheplack. And he is the founder and host of All or Nothing in Real Estate podcast. So everybody, please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to Matt Smith.
All right, how's everybody? I love the message, new year, new you. Every time I hear that phrase, I throw up in my mouth a little bit. If you need a new year to be a new you, I think you have bigger problems, right? And so regardless, I want to get you guys started off for January for the best year of your lives in real estate. Who wants that? A show of hands. Cool. One of the things that I'm going to go over today is I'm going to share a lot of things that are proven. One of the things that I believe in and why I love being a coach for some of the top teams in the country is it allows me to deploy things that are proven and not theory. I was having some conversations around the room earlier this morning, and one of the things that was asked is about different tech and different things that we use, and certainly there's tech that's important. And there certainly is tech that I think everyone should have, and we'll go over some of that today. But I want to remind you is the next shiny object is not going to get you what you want. The one thing, and I was talking to the legendary Papa, Brent's dad, and he said something that really caught my attention because I believe in it. And he said something to the effect of, what's crazy is that who you become on the journey to success is something that no one can take away from you. And what I want to help you unpack for yourself today is how can we help you develop the skills within yourself through the actions that you take that are proven that I will share with you so that you can become a better version of you that no one can ever take away from you. Because if you want to have the best year ever, I know one way to guarantee that happens. You become the best ever. You guys with me? Cool. So today I'm going to give you a masterclass on lead conversion. Sounds really fancy. It's not. So I hope you brought something to take notes. I hope you brought something that you can actually register how you can apply these things to your business, because these are proven things that we are using in our business, and I'm using with some of the top teams that I coach in the nation that are getting real results. Every coaching client that I coached last year for more than 6 weeks grew their business in 2024. How many people grew their business in 2024? Almost no one, right? Like in the room, show of hands. Let's brag on you guys for a minute. Raise your hands. Awesome. Give them a round of applause. That's awesome. But if you were to look at the national stats, that's an oddity. That's not normal, right? Because it was just a challenging market. And so it's something I'm really, really proud of, and I want to share with you what they are doing every single day, what they're telling their agents to do, what their agents are doing, so that they can actually convert the leads into more money in their pockets. Who wants to have more money in their pockets? Cool. All right, let's rock and roll. So today I'm going to walk you through our exact sales process. Our team last year sold 643 units in a year where more agents got out of the business than ever before. Something I'm really, really proud of. What is crazier about that, anyone want to guess how many real estate agents are in my marketplace? We sold 643 units. How many agents do you think are in my marketplace? There are under 300 agents in my board of realtors. What is your limiting belief? What is your limiting belief that is getting in the way of the success that you desire? Oh, you can't, because you can. Anything's possible. And so we're going to give you the proven sales process, exactly how we train our agents. Something else I'm really proud of. I just ran the numbers. Last year, the average agent on our team, net in their pocket, made 4 times the median income for our area with a team split. By the way, my listing agents get 30%. And they made 4 times the amount of money the median income in our area. So these things work. All right, so we're going to cover lead generation. We're going to go over prospecting, database management, pipeline management, lead conversion, and client experience. Those are kind of the highlights that we're going to unpack today. But I also want to ask you guys a favor. So originally when Brent asked me to do this, I was honored and blessed to be here, so thank you guys for having me. But it was going to be like a 40-minute speech, which is what I normally do. Then all of a sudden, hey, you've got an hour 45. So I'm going to deliver the best I can, but I need your guys' help. Can you guys help me keep up the energy? Can we make this interactive? If I ask a question, can we answer? Cool. Awesome. So all of this is just fancy things of what are the exact steps that I can help you get more money in your pocket? So let's break it down. Where does all this stuff come from? This isn't stuff I read in a book. This isn't stuff that I think will work. This is stuff that is proven, that I am doing right now alongside you. The top teams and the top agents in the country are doing it right alongside you. I've spent millions of dollars learning this information. I spent spent tons of time. I'm at all kinds of events. I'm a lifelong learner. So I want to applaud you guys for being here to learn. There's something I'm going to give you on the other side of that in just a second. So I applaud you for being here, but just being here sometimes isn't enough. And today I'm giving away my playbook. I texted Brent last night when I was on the plane because my plane got delayed 10 hours of travel to be here. Isn't traveling fun? But anyway, I made it. And one of the things I told him, I said, dude, I hope they're ready because I'm giving away my entire playbook on how you convert leads at a high level. Because what it forced me to do was when I had to pivot from 45 minutes to now an hour 45, I need to find more value. I just dove into my entire sales process and I put it on slides for you guys today. Okay? So I'm giving away for free, so make sure you pay attention. So here's my promise to you. You will walk away today with the exact steps of that I guarantee is thrown around. But if you do this, I guarantee you will be successful. These are proven, right? And so these are the exact steps that you will walk away from to apply. If you apply these, if you apply them to your business, they work. One of the things that I'm going to go to mindset first. Are you guys with me on if your mindset isn't right, the best strategies, the best leads, the best tactics in the world don't work, right? So let's start with mindset. One of the things that I learned in my high school, by the way, someone asked where do you live? My high school graduating class had 32 kids, so that gives you a little perspective. And so one of the things that was written on the wall in my high school said knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. What I've come to learn is that was wrong. Knowledge is useless until you apply it. Just having the knowledge is powerless. But if you apply what you learn, that's where the real power lies. So what you do with this information you get today is entirely up to you. You guys with me? Cool. Before we get started, scan this QR code. Tons of resources that I'm going to give away for free. Actual documents that we use. Download them because we're going to be actually interactive today. Since you guys said you would participate, that's what that meant to me. We're going to do some role plays and some fun stuff because we're going to teach you how to convert leads. So there's all kinds of resources there. There's scripts, there's dialogues, there's things that we actually use that we will reference today, and I'll give you kind of depth of understanding so you can use it at a high level. We good? Everyone got it? I hope it worked. Sometimes they don't work. Okay, cool. All right. So let's cover lead generation. Who thinks they have, be honest, who thinks they have a problem generating leads, or if they generate more leads, they would have more business? By show of hands. If you generate more leads, you'll have more sales, right? Wrong. More leads have never equaled more sales. Most of you, we will unpack today, don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead conversion problem. Those are two different problems. And sometimes we shoot at the wrong target. We think we want more leads or we want higher quality leads, but I hope you unpack that through the mindset that I coach people to and that we have in our organization that really helps us convert leads at a very, very high level. So here's my belief. Let's start off a presentation this way. There is no such thing as a bad lead. They're just bad agents. If you give Brent Gove an open house lead and you give a new agent that has a bad mindset that doesn't think that lead is going to convert that same lead, are they going to have the same result or different? So was the lead the problem or was the agent the problem? So I started a presentation, it was called Conversion Con. It was on lead conversion that I was fortunate to speak at late last year. And I talked about shiny objects. I think we all struggle, and I know I personally have struggled with shiny object syndrome in my business, and I've always been trying to find what's the next thing. And I think there's a difference in innovation and making sure that you're not getting stuck in the past, right? And so it's a balancing act that I'm still trying to figure out. But one of the things that I started my presentation with that I think is relevant here is if you guys believe this with me, which you guys said you did, some of you are still wondering if you're going to like me or hate me. It's okay. But the shiny object that we all need as real estate agents, there is one that we all need. It's called the mirror. If you hold up the mirror and you're willing to accept extreme personal responsibility for everything in your life, including your skill, including where your business is, including where your health is, where your fitness, where your finance, where everything is in your life. The bad news is it is your fault. The good news is it's your fault. That also means you're the solution. Okay, so we're gonna go in depth today on how you guys can adopt some of these principles so you don't have to pay more money to sell more real estate. You guys with me on that? That's why we're starting here. Cool. So here's a quote that I came up with, and I've been proven right over and over and over and over again. The quality of the lead is determined by the skill and the will of the agent. Period. The quality of the lead is determined by the skill and the will of the agent. And so we'll talk about lead generation. I'll give you a few tips, but I want to really spend the majority of the time is on how to convert leads. Because I think just creating leads, we can do that later. Go to Brent's Masterclass on open house. There's all kinds of ways to create leads. We don't have a lead creation problem. We have a lead conversion problem. Man, I'm just really starting this off really nice. You guys are going to hate me. I just believe in being honest and being truthful. And I think that if we're willing to own what the problem is, we're able to solve it. And I think the problem is we as real estate agents, especially during the COVID market, we had this sense of entitlement. We don't have to work that hard. Why do we have to call these leads? We have the expectation of this lead said they're not ready to buy or sell, and so it's a bad lead. And I think that's the wrong attitude to have. That's an entitled attitude. We have the wrong definition of what a lead is. And so here's my Starbucks story. I tell this every time I onboard a new agent to our organization because I failed as a leader in not setting the proper expectations for an agent, and I learned from my mistakes. And so I brought on an agent, and we were having our exit interview, and I'd asked her kind of why she decided real estate wasn't for her. And she said, it's just not what I expected. And I said, tell me more. What do you mean? She said, well, I thought I would put my name tag on, I would sit at Starbucks, and people would come up to me and say, you're an agent, can you help me sell my house? And that's just not how it works, right? We all know that. So I use that as an example. It's an extreme example, but it's true. What version of the Starbucks story are we telling ourselves in real estate? And are we willing to own it? If we remove that sense of entitlement and we remove that false expectation that we have, then everything's ours for the taking. So what is a lead? What is not a lead? A lead, a lot of agents think that, I'll ask you guys, what's a lead? What do you guys think a lead is? This is the interactive part. You guys said you'd participate. Help me out here. A person. I like it. What else? Somebody that's interested. Name, number, and email. An opportunity. What's an opportunity? Okay, cool. So, I already set the trap for you guys. So you guys already know where I'm going with this. But a lot of people think a lead is somebody I pick up the phone. They either call me, number one. Well, if they're not calling me, I'm like, whatever. I don't have time to work with them. Or we call them and we say, hey, you're interested in selling? And they say, yep, I'll come out tomorrow. I'm ready to sell it. We laugh, but how many of us really have a little bit of that expectation, right? And so if we adjust that and we realize that a lead really is, in the way I run my business and coach people to run the business, and I'll coach you guys through today, is it's a name, number, and email, yes, but it's more than that. It's an opportunity that did some sort of activity that showed you they were interested in real estate. So my belief is actions speak louder than words. You guys have heard that over and over and over and over again, right? So I don't believe what people say. I believe what they do. And so were they recently visiting my website? Did they show up to an open house? Did they calculate a home value? What actions did they take recently that show me what they are versus me expecting them to tell me what they are? And I believe their actions, not their words. A lot of us, we'll unpack this later, but a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, are getting out-scripted by the leads. They are better at getting you off the phone than you are converting their objections into an appointment. All right, so let's talk lead generation quickly. Usually I have an illustration. You guys will draw a picture here. You guys seen a bar stool before? Right? Imagine having a bar stool and you have one leg on it. How well are you going to sit on the bar stool? Not very well, right? And so let's make sure we have a foundation. For a bar stool to be sturdy, you need at least 3 legs. You guys with me? So this is super foundational. If you don't have 3 sources of leads, then you do have a lead generation problem. But most of you have 3 sources of leads. So what are some of your lead sources? Let's hear them out loud. Open house. Past clients. Church. Sphere. Craigslist. Relatives. Social media. Online leads. Zillow. All those things, right? We have all those different ones. So make sure you have at least 3 of those. If you don't have them, you can have expireds, FSBOs. There's all kinds of things you can do to gather people into your database to create hand raisers so we can work your database proactively versus reactively. You guys with me on that? Do I need to spend more time there or are we good? Cool. So that being said, and you guys agree, we don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead conversion problem. Let's solve it. Step number 1. If you had to pick to be, who's going to win? A proactive real estate agent or a reactive real estate agent? So why are we reactive? We're not prepared. It's easier. Ego, entitlement, wrong expectations, laziness. You guys see where all of this is the beginning of the presentation. We're all on the same page now, right? And so what I'm going to help you with is to unlock that mindset, because if I give you the tactics and give you the scripts and give you all that, but you don't believe it, it won't work. So hopefully you guys are at least open-minded to hear this stuff so you can apply it in your business and make an impact, right? So prospecting. How about a prospecting plan that actually connects with human beings? Do you realize that every lead is actually a person? Crazy, I know. But they have a family and they have a job and a house and they're actually people. It's weird. So it actually connects with people and actually converts people to appointments. This is a pet peeve of mine. And maybe some of you are guilty, I hope not. If you are, hopefully it's the last day and this is a wake-up call for you so you don't continue to do it. This is your opportunity to have a new you after this new year. But calling a lead and giving up after one call. I call them, they didn't answer, they must not be interested. That sounds ridiculous. Let's pull up your CRM and let's go look at your leads and see how many of those you did that to. You guys with me? The open house, the person that came to the open house yesterday and you called them once, they didn't answer, so you just stopped calling. You guys with me? This is a problem. You see why we don't need more leads? We just need to work the leads that we have at a better rate. And I'm going to give you a proven system to do that. Number 1, what's rule number 1 on leads? I really work, we work a lot with online leads. I think open houses, relationships, sphere, all that is crucial. But I really think this principle applies with that as well. But in particular with online leads, speed to lead. How quickly, let me ask you guys, how quickly should you call an online lead that comes in? Immediately. Immediately. And I'm going to give you some stats on why that is so crucial. I'll be honest with you. Let's use Brent, because we all love Brent. And Brent's phenomenal. He's got an amazing skill set, an amazing at converting leads, just an amazing human. But if you put Brent Gove against any of you on the same online lead, and he called in 30 minutes and you called in 30 seconds, who's going to win? Sometimes you don't have to be the best. You just got to be first. With me? This right here solves so many problems that we don't realize that we have. Because we think, somebody said, I'm not ready. You don't have to be ready. They're just a person. Let's have a conversation with this person, right? So speed to lead, here's some stats. And this is in sales in general, not specifically to real estate, but I think it's really impactful. The average lead response time, 47 hours. That's what your competitors are doing. Maybe that's what some of you are doing. Online leads don't work. No, we just don't work them. 27% of leads get contacted at all. That means, we do some math, 73% don't get contacted. What's a contact? Two-way conversation, right? That doesn't mean an attempt. That means a contact. How do you plan on selling someone a house if you don't have a conversation? It's impossible. Have you guys ever sold a house without having a conversation? Ever? It's not possible, right? The likelihood of reaching shoppers or home buyers or sellers within 5 minutes is 10 times higher, 10x, than if you wait 10 minutes. You want to 10x your business this year? Every new lead in the first 5 minutes. Thanks for coming. That's all you need. It sounds crazy, but do we do it? Do we treat our business that way? The problem is we have the curse of abundance. We know we know we don't have a lead generation problem. We know we can create more leads, so we treat that lead like, we'll get another one. Treat every lead like it's your last. Makes a big difference. Businesses that respond within an hour are almost 7 times more likely to have a meaningful conversation with the decision maker. Isn't that what you're trying to do? Meaningful conversation about the biggest purchase or sale of their life. You don't have to be best. Sometimes you just got to be first. Fast responders win 50% of sales. Calling after 30 minutes is 21 times less effective. I'll do that later. I'm in the car. I don't know where they registered. I don't know what house they're interested in. Whatever the excuse is we give ourselves, do it now. And have these scripts I'm going to teach you today internalized so you can have a conversation with a human to connect and build a relationship and rapport. A 1-minute response time can lead to 391% more conversions. You heard 5 minutes versus 10. What about 5 versus 1? The quicker you are, the better the results are. Why is that? Let's unpack that a little bit. Why do you think that is? It's fresh in their head? There we go. How many distractions do we have in day-to-day life? How many times has your phone went off since you've been here? Right? And so we misinterpret. This is where the mindset comes in. I want you guys to understand and think like a consumer for a minute. We think like real estate agents and it backfires on us. You got to think, you got to put yourself in their shoes. And I think that if you were to realize that it's called modality. We have so many distractions in day-to-day life. How many of you got kids? How many of you cook dinner? How many of you drive somewhere from time to time? Right? We have things that happen in our life. And so if I am interested in real estate and I'm an opportunity, to use your guys' words, I call them hand raisers, meaning I revisited a website, I saved a property, I calculated a mortgage, whatever that we have done to create, I walked into an open house, whatever those things are, whatever those opportunities are, and then I call 30 minutes later, what are the chances that I'm still top of mind thinking about nothing else but real estate? Very, very slim. So now we aren't handling the objections about buying or selling real estate. We're handling objections of I just picked up my screaming kids in the car, I'm at the McDonald's drive-thru, I got dinner cooking, whatever. We're handling objections that have nothing to do with real estate because we have this crazy thing called life. Because again, these are just people, right? 82. Let's talk about expectations. 82% of consumers expect you as a salesperson to respond within the first 10 minutes. I have a motto, exceeding expectations. That's what I choose to do to live my life. I hope I can exceed your expectations from this stage today. What if we could exceed the expectation of every consumer that we had the privilege of serving? How different would your business look? We'll skip that one. Doesn't matter. All right, 10-day blitz. So speed to leads, number 1. Number 2, let's build a plan. When we create these leads, this goes without saying, we need a CRM, right? So let's make sure not an Excel spreadsheet, get a CRM. You can get them for like $10 a month. It doesn't have to be the best. You just need one. And I'll tell you how to stage them and simplify it all throughout today. But you need a process for these leads you create. So what we have is a 10-day blitz. People call it 10 days of pain. I don't think we have enough pain in this business. I don't want to do something that causes more pain, right? So we changed the name. 10-day blitz. Really simple. Let me simplify it for you. For the first 10 days, we call, text, and email every single lead that comes in. On day 1, we double dial. You guys know what a double dial is? I did a study. Me personally, I'm not in production. I've been out of production for 4 years. I have a really, really good pulse on my business. I'm in it every single day. I just believe in growing people is my passion. And so I did a study because I wanted to get back in the trenches, so to speak. And I believe in leadership that there's only one way to lead, one way to lead, and that is servant leadership by example. And so I went back in the trenches and I started prospecting. I sold real estate. I set 30 listing appointments in 30 days with no new leads. And one of the things that I learned there is on day 2 and day 3, if you actually follow the plan. On day 2, on the double dial, my answer rates on the double dial went up by 67%. Well, they're going to think whatever excuse we tell ourselves. Guess what great salespeople are? They're great apologizers. Are you calling to help them? They raise their hand. I can't help them if I don't have a conversation. Guess how many times I got cussed out or hung up on the double dials? It just doesn't happen because I've built the skill to overcome that. Because they truly feel that I'm actually calling to help them. Are you leaving voicemail? After the double dial. Yep, you double dial immediately, voicemail, text, and email. If it's early in the morning, and even if it's not last minute of the day, on day one, I call again, right? And so I'll do that again. So it should be 10-day blitz. Like on the first day, you need to be a little more aggressive, right? A little more proactive. But call, text, and email every single day for 10 days. Pretty simple, right? We could all do that. And if we do that, I promise you your answer rates will go through the roof. Another pro tip is that we've built a really big database in our organization and a lot of teams that I coach, and we run a business systemized so that we can scale it, it's predictable, et cetera. And one of the things that we've created is ponds in our CRM by building a database strategically. And so whatever that looks like for your business, I would call it maybe a follow-up or maybe someone that isn't as a brand new registration, but it's like a follow-up call. A rule that you should put in place, if you're committing to call one day, you commit to 3 days. It makes all the difference in the world. Because we call once and we forget, just like with the new lead. It doesn't have to be 10 days for these other leads, right? Or colder leads, whatever you want to call them. But if you do it for 3 days in a row, I promise you your results will increase significantly. Here's another mindset thing. Nobody here makes cold calls. And if you do, let's have a conversation. I'll teach you how to do better business. We don't have, you know what cold calls is? Cold calls is getting a phone book and just going through the A's and starting calling. Hey, you thought about buying or selling real estate? How many of you do that every single day? Then why does cold call still exist in our society? Why do we still say it's a cold call? In reality, it's a warm call. We are reaching out to someone that raised their hand and said, hey, I'm interested. That's it. And so if we can become better at understanding, there's something I think is really important. Let me backtrack a little bit. I believe that we don't have enough belief in what we do. Go back to mindset for a minute. We don't have enough belief that we can actually help these individuals. We don't have enough belief in ourselves that we are the person that can help guide them through this biggest purchase or sale of their lives. And because we don't have the belief and because we are not convinced that we can help them, now we are not convincing. You got to have the belief in yourself. Guess where that belief comes from? Guess where that confidence comes from? The actions that you take. Keeping the commitment you made to yourself. Really simple. Everyone's looking for confidence. It's in the mirror. It really is. All right. This is a saying that I think I've been saying a lot in the last 6-8 months. Maybe 12 months now, because the market shifts and changes. When I started my organization, I said, I don't want to sell people. I want to help people. And at any time in my organization, we would interrupt people if they said the word sell. We just don't sell. We don't believe in selling. Doesn't mean we're not great salespeople. We just don't sell people. We believe great salespeople help people. And so we'd replace the word with help. But I don't think people need our help in this marketplace. They certainly don't need to be sold. They don't even think they need our help in this marketplace. What do they need? They need to be led. So get out of the helper mindset and develop the leader mindset. They need your guidance to help them with the biggest purchase or sale of their lives. Be the leader that they need. Maybe it's not the leader they want. Maybe it's too soon. Whatever the objections are they're going to throw at you, you put yourself in a place of authority and leadership because that's what you are. You're a professional. Act like it. And you guide them and lead them through the process, it changes the game for you. So no more helper mindset, leader mindset. A lot of times when I'm talking lead generation, lead conversion, a lot of people say, well, how do we have better conversations? I don't know what to say. Anyone think they're going to learn what to say here today? Show of hands. Yeah? I hope you do. But a better question that we could ask ourselves, or we could ask, I do a lot to give back to this industry. I love it. It's a passion of mine. I get people reach out all the time, and I hope you guys reach out. I want to help. I just want to encourage you to change your dialogue and your thoughts. A lot of people ask me the wrong question. Hey, Matt, what do I say? Hey, what's the best lead source? I don't know your market. I don't know your skills. I don't know your systems. I can't answer that. But instead of saying, what is the best thing to say, realize that great salespeople ask great questions. So what questions should I be asking? The more questions that you ask, the better the conversations will be. The more leads you will convert, the more sales you will make. So instead of thinking what makes a great sales conversation, they're humans, they're people, they're moms, they're dads, they're aunts, they're whatever they are. They're people, right? So what makes a great conversation? Here's my simple belief. If you make a friend, you make a sale. Quit trying to sell them. Quit trying to throw your agenda down their throat. Build a relationship with a human. Anyone heard of LP Mama? Couple yes, couple no. LP Mama is an old sales framework in real estate. I didn't create it, I just use it. But I think I've enhanced it, and I'll share it with you today. And that's one of the downloads you guys have. If you want to pull up your phone to pull up the scripts there, one of them is LP Mama. And LP Mama is just a simple dialogue and framework for you to use to walk through a conversation. Most of you, if you have been successful in real estate, you will realize that you do this naturally, even if you're not doing it intentionally. But the L is location. We ask them questions around location, price, motivation. We ask them if they're working with an agent. We ask them if they have a mortgage, and then we set the appointment. So it's just a framework to follow, right? So since some of you aren't familiar with LP Mama, I'm going to slow down here since I have plenty of time today. I want to slow down, and I want to really unpack a little bit of how you can use this at a very, very high level and why great questions matter. So simple, is it important to know what area they're looking to buy a home in, yes or no? So why in our intros do we get an online lead, let's use an online lead as an example, when we call them, when we call them, and hopefully now we call them in the first 30 seconds, right? And we call them and we say something like, hey, what questions do you have about 123 Main Street? Are you interested in this property? We're like we're attacking them. You guys heard that before or done that before? And then they're like caught off guard. I was just looking. And then we think, oh, they're just looking. They don't need my help. All right, talk to you later. And we hang up. I don't know about you guys, but guess who I'm looking for? People who are just looking for real estate. That's a perfect reason why we're on the phone. So let's adjust how we start the call so we can have a better conversation to build relationship and rapport with the human, right? And so instead of saying anything close to what I just mentioned, I hope that was, I don't even know what that was, but don't do it. Instead, I have it in that script for you guys, and I'll go off of memory here, but instead just say something to the effect of, give me a city around here. Sacramento, right? Okay. What's your name? Kim? Hey, Kim, this is Matt with Matt Smith Real Estate Group. I noticed you were looking in Sacramento. I'm just curious, is that the only area you're looking to buy in?
No, I've been looking at surrounding areas as well.
Do you guys see what happened in the conversation there? That's a power question. Did she stop me? Did her wall go up or did it come down? Was it an open-ended question where she can say, no, I'm not interested? We stop the conversation before it even starts. Does that make sense? Can you guys use that to actually have better conversations? What I believe is, and I'll show you later, real estate's contact sport. The more conversations you have, the more real estate you can sell, right? Cool. So there's simple frameworks. We'll unpack that throughout this, but I think that the LP Mama is broken. And what I've observed, and this came from me actually coaching my own agents, which is why I'm in the trenches every single day, because now I can give more value to you guys because I'm doing it at a very high level. And one of the things I realized is that agents do really, really good job all the way till they got to the second M. And they have like PTSD of someone that told them they didn't want to talk to a lender. You guys ever had that before? Like that immediately stops them in their tracks. Oh, whoa. They're going to pull my credit? No, forget this. You guys ever had that happen? So I believe great salespeople remove resistance. That's a speed bump between you and an appointment. So let's flip that and let's go to location. Let's understand what area they're looking to buy in. Let's understand their motivation. How soon are they looking to buy or sell? Why is it important for them? They're not working with another agent. Then let's set the appointment. And after we set the appointment, then, oh, Kim, I'm so sorry, I forgot to ask. Will you be obtaining financing or will you be paying cash?
I'll be obtaining financing.
Is it easier to have that conversation now?
Yeah.
She already committed. right? So the simple frameworks, and we'll unpack this. We'll have plenty of time depending on where this goes. I plan on have some Q&A. Maybe we can do some role play. But we'll circle back on that. Does that framework help you guys at all? Cool. And you guys have a copy of that, by the way. So we talked about LP Mama. LP Ma'am is what I call it now. And I'm from the Midwest, so I say it with an accent. It's okay. But 80% of your conversations should be spent on motivation. You guys ever get stuck in trying to find the perfect property for a buyer? No? Good. Someone's a good salesperson. I've gotten stuck too, but I've learned through it and I don't get stuck anymore. And I'll help you unpack that. But I think where we get stuck is because we focus too much on the what and not the why. Do we really understand why they want that perfect property? And for those of you, let me take you through an exercise that I would take buyers through. So I understand, Kim, I understand you're looking for this perfect property and this dream home. Close your eyes and imagine something with me for just a moment. Let's pretend that you could build your dream home. Unlimited budget, perfect location. You could build everything that you've ever dreamed about. You got that picture in your head, Kim? Awesome. When you move in, how long before you, your husband, your kids find something about that perfect property with unlimited budget in the perfect location that you don't like? Within the first day, right? So can we agree, Kim, that the perfect property doesn't really exist? We're kind of looking for a needle in a haystack. It doesn't mean I don't want to find the great property or a property that fits your most important needs, but I want to make sure we're shooting at the right target. Are we on the same page here? I'm adjusting her expectations. Is that going to help you with buyers? If you use it, it will. And then I really want to unpack, so I think motivation. Motivation comes in so many different forms for buyers and sellers. But do we really understand what their pain is that they're moving away from or what their pleasure is they're moving towards? In the reality, that's why they're buying or selling real estate. There's one of those two things. And if you spend 80% of your time asking great questions to unpack their motivation, your conversations will go through the roof. You'll build trust. Their sales wall and sales skepticism will come down. And then you can actually help them solve their problem because you know what the problem is instead of trying to find the perfect property. Too many of us, hopefully not us, too many of us in the industry have become glorified door openers. They think their job is to just open doors and find the property. That's just part of your job. So don't get stuck on the perfect property. And one of my good friends, my coach and my mentor, John Cheplack, said this is really profound, and we'll unpack this throughout the day, but the heart chooses and the mind justifies. People buy and sell on emotion, not logic. Quit trying to sell logically to people that are making an emotional transaction for their family. That's why motivation is so important. You're touching at their heartstrings, and you got to go deep in understanding of why they are looking to buy or sell, not what they're trying to find. You're shooting at the wrong target. Here's a great closing question. Here's something I've observed is you can have the best opener, you can have the best script, you can build the best rapport, you can have a great conversation, but if you don't know how to close, you ain't getting that appointment. Here's a rock star close. Everyone, you should take a picture and make sure that you practice this and memorize this, and every single phone call with someone you're trying to set an appointment with, this question right here is gold. So I'm curious. This is after we went through LP Mama, right? I'm getting to the last A. This is like in the LP Ma'am. So I'm curious, what are the next steps that you need to take to buy a home? Well, that's a question. How do you set an appointment with a question? Because that leads to the most powerful thing that you can take and guide them through, which is the power of self-discovery. And whenever you ask that question, and I got thousands of call recordings to prove this, thousands. Whenever you do this properly, you know what they say every single time? That's a great question. I don't know. Why is that important? How many buyers and sellers think they need your help? Very, very, very few. They think you're a commodity. Because a lot of us are. I'm teaching you how to be more valuable today, how to connect with more people on a more emotional level. And if you can provide more value, guess what else happens? You make more money. So whenever you ask that question and they say something to the effect, well, that's a good question. I don't know. That's when you put your superhero cape on, here to save the day. That's not a problem at all. So many of my other clients have felt the exact same way. But that's why I'm so glad we're talking today. That's where, and we'll get to this in a minute, you insert your unique selling propositions that you have. That's where our Buyer's Advantage program comes into play for buyers just like you. We've helped so many people through this exact process. It's normal for you to not know what's next. That's what I'm here for. And now guess what? Instead of you forcing them to have an appointment, guess what they're looking forward to? Wow, I'm going to meet with this person. They're actually going to help me. That make sense? It changes everything. Cool. We'll probably do this later. Before I move on, you guys have any questions on anything we covered so far?
What you just said, was that in the script?
It is. Yep. But I slowed down to go over it because a lot of times, let's just be honest, guys, we look at scripts and we're like, oh, we'll kind of make our own. That script has to be done exactly as written. Exactly. We'll get to another question. I'll give you a case study, if I remember, of an agent that was fighting me on another script that I have. It's the best follow-up script on the planet that I'll share with you too. That it was an obstacle that they had, they couldn't work through, and they were like, well, that doesn't sound like me. And my question to them was, well, how many appointments has you set? And they're like, all right, got it. They came back running me literally 2 minutes later. Oh my God, it worked. Because they said it exactly as written. Guys, it makes a big difference. Yes?
So how, you run a big team, it sounds like. And how often are you role playing with your team?
Every day.
And the biggest challenge is if agents don't want to role play, they're like, oh, I'm better when I'm in front of them. It's like, no, you're not.
Why do agents say that?
I guess because it's uncomfortable, right?
That's right. Where does growth come from? So I say this with all the love in the world. Thank you for sharing. But that is a leadership problem. Leadership is a mirror. What are we modeling and demonstrating for the agents and people that we're leading? Do you show up to role play? Do you practice harder than you play? Here's a modeling too. And I'm going to give you guys a secret because I'm hopefully modeling leadership for you today. How many of you want to get paid like a pro athlete? Right? How many of your agents want to get paid like a pro athlete? All of them. How come we're not willing to do what pro athletes do? Guess what the best pro athletes on the planet do? First one to practice, last one to leave. And what they do better than anybody else in the world is they review their game film and they learn from their mistakes. If you want to get paid like a professional athlete, we should probably model and demonstrate what professional athletes do. And here's another thing that I say is that, and I don't want to give you good false pretense. Not all my agents show up to role play every single day, right? It's not, they're agents, right? However, we have an environment and a culture of practicing and role playing. It's every single day. And I think too that.
Are there cameras on?
Huh?
Are there cameras on?
Yeah. Darren knows. Darren, what happens if their camera's not on?
They get a black trash bag at the next building.
One of my cultural standards in my environment is to be present, positive, and prepared for team meetings, trains, role plays, etc. Right? And if you show up via Zoom, which we allow you to show up via Zoom, but you show up and your camera's not on, guess what happens the next time you're in the office? Hey, welcome. Let's put this on before we go in the meeting. I don't make them actually put it on, but it's for effect. And it's the aha of, shit, if I'm going to show up, I better show up. That make sense? Is that not what it looks like on Zoom? They got a black trash bag over their head, right? So, present, positive, prepared. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Role play leadership. Yeah, so I think too is that if you realize that, here's where I was going. My belief, I've said this multiple times, but I want to make sure I want you guys to adopt this thought process because this changes everything. We are in a career where we get the privilege every single day to help people with the biggest purchase or sale of their lives. And if we're not practicing with each other, we're practicing on them, and they deserve better. It's a goosebump moment. I heard your breath too. I like it. but it's real. Like, look at that. Is that fake? Oh, no, I was talking about Goosebumps, but thanks. All right. Any other questions? There's more resources. In case you didn't get them first, it's the same ones, but in case you guys didn't get them. Any other questions before we move on? Yes. How would I or how would I recommend you? There's two different answers. Okay. How would I recommend you is I believe, let's go from helper mindset to leader mindset. Who's leading that conversation? There's the problem. And so by asking who is the leader of the conversation? The person that talks the most or the person that asks the best questions? So you got to ask better questions. And so if they're rambling off in left field, you just bring them back in by asking a very great, very strategic and straightforward question. What's your name? Candace. So Candace, as much as I value all of this stuff that you're sharing, and it's all really important, and thank you so much for sharing with me. I really do appreciate it. I want to get back to the most important thing to help you take the next step in buying or selling a home, and then you go straight to a script question. You just stay back on track. Does that help?
How do you help a buyer make a decision who are on a beer budget shopping for a champagne property?
Yeah, beer budget, champagne, whatever. They have the wrong expectations of what a property is. So guys, this is all human behavior, right? And so it's leadership stuff. But because I think that if you grow as a leader, you grow as a salesperson. And I also think that if you grow as a leader, you can grow other people. And so how about we lead our clients? And so how would we lead our clients if that was the case? One of the things that we can do, let's go back to principles that I've already shared. It's not about what you say, it's about what you show, right? Like what are your actions? And so I don't believe what people say, I believe what they do. And so one of my principles is telling is not selling. What you say doesn't matter. What they hear is everything. And so how do you get them to actually understand and have depth of understanding that they have the wrong expectations? You show them. I'm very direct. And you guys heard how I modeled the conversation with Candace. I cushion the blow, but it's a very direct conversation because I'm a professional and I want to make sure that I help lead you through this process. And you going off left field is not going to help anyone. So I'm going to bring you back to what's actually important. And so you can show them multiple ways. You can show printouts. Here's one of my favorites is I call surprise showings. And so give everything that's on the perfect property list, which we'll go over, top 5 must-haves. You guys should do that with every single buyer you have. And so I'm going to find everything that has the most of them, right? Or like a great property for them. And let's say, what's a budget for your market? Average buyer? $650. So let's say it's $1 million property and they can only afford $400,000, right? Which is okay. It doesn't make them wrong, but we have to help them understand. And again, us not tell them, but help them understand that they have the wrong expectations. And so depending on what your schedule is, you can do this online or even in person is better. Go show them the property. And you build a relationship, you build trust where you say, I found a great one for you. Don't tell them the address. Don't tell them the price. Don't give them the MLS sheet. You just walk in and say, what do you guys think? And they're like in love. Awesome. I knew this checked all the boxes for you. You ready for the bad news? Remember these conversations that we've had over and over about maybe we need to adjust our expectations? What do you think this is priced at? It's $1 million. That's why it checks all these boxes. It's not me, it's the market. And I want to make sure we adjust our expectations. So of these top 5 must-haves, which of these can we remove so we can get you into the home that fits your needs? Which ones are most important? Which ones are least important? It's just a process of elimination, asking great questions. Cool. Really good stuff. Thank you guys for asking questions. All right. LP MAM script. I already went over this, didn't I? Yeah, so this is the script. And the motivation here, guys, is really, really lengthy. I did that for visual effect, but I did it because my agents, this is literally from my organization. My agents struggled with adjusting from a homeowner versus someone that's renting. And so I just spent a lot of time spelling that out. But the most important part of the motivation is like timing. And we have to, here's two things you need to write down when you're having a conversation, to go depth of conversation with buyers and sellers. Tell me more. What else? Tell me more, and what else? So when you're asking a question, I'm just curious, how soon are you hoping to have the keys to your new home? What are they going to say? I don't know, 6 months. Awesome. Why is that 6 months important to you? Oh, because of a job transfer. Oh, tell me more about that. And they say something else. What else? What else? Too many times we try to solve problems before we know what the problem is. We solve surface level problems, so we have surface level conversations. We have no depth of relationship with humans. That's why they don't trust us. Go deeper. All right, you already went through all this. You guys have copies of that too? All right, next we're going to go to database management. So I believe there's two parts to lead conversion. There's database management and there's pipeline management. What we've already covered is kind of database management. My definition of database management is from lead to appointment. So we're scripting, role plays, that sort of thing, right? So database management, your database is your CRM. So we kind of unpacked that, but I'm going to go deeper on that for you. So database management, how do you build a CRM that works for you? Instead of a CRM that's always behind, you never know who to call, you never know where it's at, how do you organize it? Raise your hand if you want to grow a predictable, scalable business. By show of hands. Awesome. If you don't have a CRM, you can't do that. There's no possible way. Because in order to do that, you need more people that are raising their hand about buying and selling real estate, right? You have to understand the importance of this, guys. It's crucial. Well, predictability comes from relationships, follow-up, follow-through, and my favorite, simplicity. Too many people overcomplicate everything. And one of my superpowers is I am really simple. But simple scales. And I get asked all the time as a coach, well, you just make that sound really easy. I'm like, you're welcome. You want to pay me double? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I can make this sound so complicated and like a big calculus equation in this 38,000-page business plan that you would never do if that's what you find value. But instead, I want you to get results, and I think that's what's valuable. And so if I'm able to unpack those into actionable steps that you can take, that you realize they're simple, so you believe that you can do them, which one of those two are going to have a better impact on your business? Simple scales. My coach, John Cheplack, says the trick is just doing the next right thing right. How simple is that? That's coming from the number one sought after real estate coach on the planet, by the way. Just do the next right thing right. What is the next right thing? If you don't have a CRM, let's simplify your CRM. A, B, and C leads. Really simple. What's an A lead? They've told you they're going to buy or sell in the next 30 days. Pretty simple, right? What's B lead? Next 30 days to the next 6 months. C lead, 6 months to 12 months. You guys with me? What do I do if I don't know their timeline? Have better conversations. Right? That's why you're not selling more real estate. We'll go through that and follow up too. And here's a follow-up cadence for each one of them. Minimum. This is me being nice to you. In our organization, it's more strict. This is how I coach people. So if they say they're going to buy or sell in the next 30 days, you better follow up proactively every single week. Minimum. Within the next 6 months, 30 days to 6 months, every other week. And within 6 months to 12 months, every single month. Can you guys all do that? Can you build a simple system that reminds you to do that inside of a CRM through staging, lead state categories, whatever system you use? So whatever complicated system you have, my recommendation, throw it out. It's a new year. Let's have a new CRM, right? Let's simplify it so that we understand it, it's scalable, and our agents can actually understand it and follow up with it consistently. Darren?
Can you give a quick example on how you would start a
Stand by. Yes. Yep, I'm going to give you guys the best follow-up script on the planet, and we'll go over that. All right, so follow-up. You've heard it over and over and over and over again. The fortune is in. One more time. The fortune is in. Do you have a time block on your calendar every single day to follow up proactively? Raise your hand. A couple of you. How many of you keep them up if you actually stick to it? And it's a non-negotiable. Nothing gets in the way. All right, we got less hands. You got to treat that like an appointment, right? For those of you that kept your hands up, I bet you have a pretty good business. So let's go back to the expectations. So number one, when I'm on a conversation with a prospect, I don't waste a conversation. I don't know if I said this yet, but I believe we as agents hang up on more clients than clients hang up on us. What? We don't hang up on clients? Yes, you do. Here's a hang up. You end the conversation with a lead, not knowing their timeline, not knowing their motivation, without a clear next step. That was a wasted phone call. You might as well just hung up, because now you're just chasing cats. Anybody ever try to herd kittens? That's how you run your real estate business. You're trying to herd kittens and put them in a bathtub. It's not fun, right? So instead, we want to make sure that we take advantage of the opportunity that we have with that person that's on the phone. Treat it like you're never going to get another one. And make sure you understand what their motivation is. Ask more questions. And if nothing else, if you get them at a bad time and they keep rushing you off the phone, which happens, be very skilled at getting a specific follow-up time that works for them. And then you actually follow up in that time frame, you already stand out. You're not a normal salesperson anymore. You've built some trust. Make sense? Cool. One of the things that I coach my agents to do is every single person that's in their pipeline, which we'll go pipeline management. Their pipeline is people they have met with, an appointment they have met with. They have scheduled follow-ups with each and every one of them. A recurring time on their calendar for the client and for the agent. It's a weekly standing meeting. It can be 10 minutes. It don't matter. We don't chase. We set proper expectations. How much quicker is that person that said they're thinking about buying in the next 6 months? But they met with you. You went through your buyer's consultation. We call them strategy sessions. Went through our strategy session to give them a strategy to buy in this marketplace. They signed an agency agreement with us. But they're not in a rush. But if we help them through these things I'm going to take you through, and we meet with them every single week, and we talk about the next step, and we just move a little bit, and an inch by inch by inch closer to the goal, I believe they'll transact in 3 months, not 6, if we do our job properly. We cut the timeline in half. I don't know about my math, but that grows your business, right? Let's talk expectations. 25 to 35 contact attempts per lead are necessary for conversion. My database has 62,000 leads in it now. I have coaching clients that have over 80,000, 100,000 leads. And I work very, very closely with a database management company that manages 88 of the top, like 76 of them are in the Real Trends top 500 teams. They manage their databases, so we're talking hundreds of millions of leads probably. Guess what the average contact attempt per lead per closing is? The ones that actually close. It's 25 plus. There's a direct correlation with the more conversations you have with a person, the more people close. It's a contact sport. We give up too soon. Make sense? Let's go back to our expectations. What is a lead? You guys understand it's an opportunity. It's not somebody that's ready to buy today. So are we doing our job to remove those barriers and obstacles out of the way so they can actually do what they want to do? And why they raise their hand to begin with? Make sense? And always, 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 this is all caps for a reason. Never end a phone conversation, a face-to-face meeting without very clear next steps. Next step, next step, next step. That next step can be a phone meeting, but you're going to remind them of that phone meeting. And it's going to be on the calendar. And you're going to model and demonstrate, let's go leadership again. You've heard these words already today. Model and demonstrate the behavior that they would want out of a professional they choose and hire to work with for the biggest purchase or sale of their life. Because you do what you say you're going to do. You show up on time. Make sense? Guys, these little things make all the difference in the world. Your lead conversion will go through the roof. Always end the next step. WIFM, that's my favorite radio station. You guys listen to radio? So I used to sell radio ads back in the day, fun fact. So that's where I came up with this analogy, because all radio stations have like a call tag, right? WIFM is a radio station that I sell real estate through, because every human being on the planet operates on this radio frequency. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? And so on the phone calls, are we delivering our agenda? Are we forcing our agenda down their throat? Are we stepping back and allowing them to be the hero for their own story? Makes all the difference in the world. And every single call, when you follow up, you should provide value. That should go without saying, but there better be something valuable that you have in that follow-up call. No more just, I'm just checking in. Yeah, that's not what salespeople do. That's not what rich salespeople do. That's what broke salespeople do. And remember, why are you calling this person? You set the appointment. We get scared. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you go to set the appointment? Go through the framework. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're in the exact same spot you were before you called them. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Real estate is a contact sport. This is how I say it I tried to get a picture of belly buttons and it looked really weird, so I didn't put them on the slides. It's kind of gross. But I say get belly button to belly button because it's memorable. You've heard face-to-face, whatever, right? But you got to get belly button to belly button with buyers and sellers. The more people you get face-to-face with, belly button to belly button with, the more real estate you will sell, period. It's a contact sport. How many people are you contacting? You have to get in touch with people. You guys will want to take a picture of this. I'm not sure if it's in your resources, but this right here is how you understand human communication. If we don't understand how humans receive communication, it's really hard to communicate well with them. Humans only hear 7% of possible 100% of communication through the words we use. You guys ever gotten a text or an email? Been like, why are they mad at me? And then you call them or you see them and they're having the best day ever. Miscommunication. You didn't receive what they intended. Make sense? That's why you can't sell real estate through texting. You got to pick up the phone and get belly button to belly button. Next, the tonality. 38% of how people receive communication is through the tone that you use. Your tone and pacing. That's why phone calls work better than text. Right? And this, last but certainly not least, 55% of how people receive communication is body language. 55%. Belly button to belly button. That means every single text that you send, there's a 93% chance they're going to misinterpret what you mean. Every single phone call you make, there's 55% chance that they're not going to understand what you're trying to deliver. Face to face. You get all three. If you can't be face-to-face, be via Zoom. We love video text in our organization. We do video text all the time. 100% chance they receive it the right way. How we intended it. Because what we say doesn't matter. What they hear is everything. Make sense? Cool. Now, the best follow-up script on the planet. I'm really excited about this one. You guys have this in your packets. Can you guys see that okay? Cool. So, Darren, you asked me, how do we start these conversations? Here it is. So, Darren, I'm calling you back just like I said I would. What do I have to do to make sure that that happens? I had to make sure in my previous call, I set up the next steps. How many of your clients don't feel like fully trust you? You mentioned the budget earlier. You mentioned someone like going off track and talking way too much. Like, guys, that's just lack of trust. How do we build trust? There you go. Every single follow-up call should sound like this. And what it also does, the human psychology, I've done some NLP training too. And one of the things that it really does is it really in the back of our brain, when someone says that, it reminds us, this is a person I can trust. They're doing what they said they were going to do. How many of you want to work with people that do what they say they're going to do? Right? guess what they want to work with? Especially someone they're trusting to guide them through the biggest purchase of their life. So Darren, you had told me that you were planning to move to Sacramento by summer. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, it's still kind of up in the air, but that's the main goal.
Awesome. And you had said that you were buying because of a job transfer. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, and that still is the plan. Still not in the city or kind of on the outskirts.
Awesome. Pause from roleplay for a second. You guys see the difference in that follow-up versus your normal follow-up? Did I say, hey, I'm just checking in? Hey, Darren, just following up. How's your day? That doesn't get you to where you want to go. Next, Darren, I was thinking about you because. Here's where the value comes in this conversation. How many follow-ups do you need to have? How much value can you provide in those 5 bullet points? Does the market have a changing condition that you can share with them? You should be doing a market update every month anyway for everyone, right? What about increase or decrease in interest rates? Is that a relevant topic still? And how that affects their situation? What about new properties that may came on the market? What about maybe your exclusives that you have access to? What about homes in their neighborhood? So this is for sellers, homes in their neighborhood that have sold. Or, this is my favorite, success stories of clients that have bought or sold in a similar situation. Give them what is called a borrowed belief. You have any buyers or sellers right now that are just kind of like deflated because they can't find it, or they don't know if they just don't know what to do? They need some hope and inspiration. You guys have successful stories. If you don't have them, your team has them. If your team doesn't have them, your brokerage does. If your brokerage doesn't, somebody in this room does. Steal their stories. But facts tell and stories sell. We need more hope and inspiration, so share successful stories to give them that borrowed belief. And that's where you spend the guts of this call. And each one will look different, right? You can't do the market update every week, right? Like, find some different, but every call has to have something of value is the point. You guys with me? And I think most of us don't follow up because we don't know what to say. Now you know what to say. And then after we go through the value, so Darren, I'm curious. Did you want to be moved to Sacramento by the summertime? Or do you want to start the process at that time?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we'd like to be moved in by then because I'm starting my job.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I just wanted to clarify. Do you guys see what I did there? What did I do? I'm condensing the time frame. I already know this stuff. Great salespeople ask questions they already know the answer to. But I'm reminding him. And instead of telling him, I'm asking him. Because now he's saying it. He's thinking about it. Make sense? And then when he says that, if he's going to buy a home in the summer, what do I need to pivot to right now? I need to build a plan for him. I'm giving him some encouragement. Darren, I know that it seems weird to be having this conversation in January when you're not going to be here till the summer, but I just want you to know I'm so glad that you're ahead of the curve and we're taking these next steps now. And here's what I'm doing for you, A, B, and C. Make sense? All right, and then this is the power question, number 5. This is the question I was telling earlier that the agent that said, well, I don't sound like that agent. And I said, well, how many appointments did you set? And she said 0. I said, well, try it this way and see how that works. And we were having a call night. And she set 5 appointments in the next hour, by the way. Only thing she changed was this part. Calling the same leads. Everything else was the same. She just changed this. So fortunately, to get you one step closer to Sacramento, all we need to do is set up a quick 15-minute strategy session so that myself and my team can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? What else can they say? Does that make sense? Guys, we overcomplicate this. I'm playing chess, not checkers. But have I provided value in this? Have I reminded them of their motivation? Have I reminded them of their time frame? I'm not forcing them to meet with me, but I've delivered value where they want to. See the difference? Cool. And then number 6, too, I have to say, won't that be great? So back to the story of that agent. She came running to me. She was all excited. She's like, holy, she cussed. I won't cuss because I know Brent doesn't like it, but she was like going crazy cussing in a happy way. I can't believe it. It worked. And I said, what worked? She said, I said, won't that be great? And guess what they said? Yes, that'll be great. And she was, so anyway, but she's like, I would never say that. Well, now you do, and now you set appointments. So you're welcome. And then after that, alternative choice close. If you guys aren't using this, write that down. Alternative choice close. How you close is everything. You don't work off of their calendar. They work off of yours. You're a leader. Quit being a helper. That doesn't mean we're not flexible. That doesn't mean we stick to it. How I put this into practice as an example was I had a rule. When I first started in real estate, just a little backstory is that as a single agent, my very first full year in real estate, I sold 74 homes. And I worked blood, sweat, and tears, daylight to dark. Some of you may, like from that, the value that I gave you, there's access to like a private group. Make sure to join that. I provide value there for free. Also, I have a podcast if you guys want to check it out, All or Nothing in Real Estate. And if you go back and listen to episode 1, I share my story more in depth. But I was just, life's hard for all of us. We all have a story, not a pity party, just it is. My back was against the wall when I got into real estate, and I had no choice but just fight or flight, and I'm a fighter. So anyway, I was working daylight to dark, and I remember going through my very first full year and thinking, as reflecting, I had a newborn at the time, and I'm like, man, I can't remember the last time I seen her wake up or the last time I put her to bed. I was just working way too hard. But it was a sacrifice that I made to get to where I'm at. And one of the things I want you guys, while I'm sharing that with you, I'm going all over the place, but while I'm sharing that with you, it just came on my heart, is that, guys, you don't have to work harder. If I knew what I know now, I could have worked 25% of the effort and had double the results. That's how impactful this stuff can be to your business. One of the things that new year, new you, I think a lot of us are thinking about health and fitness, right? And so one of the things that I learned from my health and fitness coach is that sometimes I'm a high achiever and I want to push myself and I like doing hard things. And so I just do more and more and more and more and more. And he said, Matt, whoa, more isn't always better, but better is always better. Maybe you don't need to work more. Maybe you don't need more leads. Maybe you don't need to make more calls. Maybe you can be more efficient and you can be better with the ones that you're doing. Make sense? Cool. Man, there's a lot of resources. I want you guys to have lots of resources. It's all the same stuff. All right, qualifying the leads. Reminder of this quote to bring us back here. The quality of the lead is determined by the skill and the will of the agent. You guys with me on that? You guys believe me in that? The leads aren't the problem. By the way, all the leads that you have, everyone else in this room also has it. You guys know that? The average lead is in almost everybody's database because they're searching here, they're searching here, they're searching here. They're going to this open house, they're doing that thing and this thing and that thing. Does that make sense? So if we're waiting on the better leads, we're waiting on the wrong thing. Instead, let's work on something that can never be taken away from us, and let's become better. Let's build the skill. Let's have the will to do the speed to lead, to follow the proven plan, to follow up consistently. Make sense? I already went over this. It's not about what you say, it's about what you ask. Great salespeople ask great questions. Great questions lead to a superpower in sales, which is self-discovery. When they say the answer that you already know that they should say, game is over. But if you say it, they may not hear it. Make sense? Too many times we want to come in and be the hero. We want to be the savior. What I'm encouraging you to do is just ride alongside them. Be the leader and allow them to be the hero of their own story. Instead of you trying to feed your ego, let's allow them to self-discover what they're looking for and why. Allow them to be the hero in their own story. Telling isn't selling. Outdated scripts and dialogues don't work. I'm going to let you know a secret. Those scripts, they're phenomenal. But those scripts don't work if you don't understand the nuances of the things that I'm sharing with you today. The conversation matters way more than the script. Something I do with all of my agents that we bring in, we onboard agents once a month in our organization. One of the things that I go over with them, I still do it personally, is scripting. And I think that it's a lot of people get stuck and they sound like robotic and think they have to read the script exactly how it is. But the reality is most agents would do better without a script if they just internalized it and they realized that the most important thing is to actually be present in the conversation. If you're present in the conversation with a human, and then you follow the talk tracks, that's where the magic happens. Conversation first, script second. Make sense? Go deep, not wide. Tell me more. What else? It's like I wrote this presentation. We've already covered all this. Build rapport and trust. Show genuine and authentic interest. Do you genuinely care about these humans? Do you genuinely enjoy what you get to do? Can you guys feel the passion for what I get to do? Literally, I just had a goosebump moment sharing with you guys from here today. I can't make that up. I'm here because I want to help. Do our clients feel that when we're working with them? Find common ground, really simple. Conversation needs to feel natural and personal. Mirror and match energy and tone. You guys know what mirror and matching is? Someone give me an example. What's mirroring? That's matching. Yes. Mirror their body language. If someone comes in and they're all excited and it's Gene Frederick up on stage, you can't just be an Eeyore, right? And you just got to match them, right? You got to make sure that you're matching their energy. You got to be a chameleon a little bit. It doesn't change who you are. You're just trying to be more authentic to them, and so they feel a connection, right? In mirroring, you guys ever get stuck in a conversation? Let me help you. You guys ever get stuck? Show of hands. Who gets stuck in a conversation like, oh, and we panic. I don't know what to do. Those of you who didn't raise your hands, you're liars. We all get stuck. I'm going to give you a hack. Next time you're stuck and you're like, I don't know what to do, repeat back the exact same thing they said to you and add a question mark at the end. It gives you time to think and process. And they know that you heard them. So Darren, what I heard you say was, is that correct? What's going to be next now? But what does that do to that person? If I were to do that with you, now you feel heard. Because too many of us listen to respond instead of listen to understand. So that shows that I actually understood what he was saying and actually heard him. So it's magic. Cool. Active listening. Guys, we got to have empathy for their situation. I know there's all these crazy stories we got to deal with, and I think I got this from Brent, actually. We all have heard buyers are liars, sellers are worse. That's what broke agents say. I think we can be better. And I think that if we have empathy for their situation, doesn't mean everyone's going to buy today. Doesn't mean everyone's a great fit for you. But we can lower our ego wall and raise our empathy. Let's be empathetic for their situation. Uncover their real needs, desires, pain points, acknowledge their concerns. Write these things down if you struggle with having great conversations. You answer, ask. You acknowledge, ask. That's the transition in all of your frameworks of conversations. You answer and ask another question. You acknowledge what they said, and you ask another question. If you understand that framework, you can have a great conversation with anyone. And we listen to understand versus listen to reply. I almost did the whole presentation on these 5 points. That's how powerful these are. I highly recommend you take a picture of them. This is a sophisticated communication framework that will crush your outdated script every single time. These are principles that we need to acknowledge and understand. Number 1, seek first to understand, then be understood. My 7-year-old learns that in school, but somehow we forget that. Seek first to understand, then be understood. It's not about us. We're in the service industry. Are we serving them? Throw out your agenda. Number 2, handle objections in advance. Rookies wait for objections. Pros handle them in advance. Let me give you an example. One of our scripting that we do with our listing agents is we encourage them to ask if they're competing for the listing. Guess what limited, small-minded agents think whenever I say that? Well, I'm going to plant that seed in their head. And now they're going to interview. Good. If you don't have the confidence in yourself that you don't want them to interview 3 other agents, that's a you problem. Do you really want to work with someone just because you got lucky? How much difference is the relationship if they did interview? You guys ever won an interview? The relationship's way different. We're in control. But what really happens when you show up and you deliver and you follow all this stuff, and I'll give you some presentation stuff here in a minute. You go through all the stuff that we went through today. When you show up with that person and you have the confidence in yourself and you ask them, I'm just curious, are you interviewing any other agents for the job? Most of the time, they're like, I haven't even thought about that. I don't know yet. Cool, move on. I'm not offended. I may even give them a name or two because I'm going to win. But whenever I have that confidence, when I ask that, guess what they never do? They never interview anyone else. It's crazy because I don't have the scarcity mindset. Handle objections in advance. Other objections. What are some objections you guys are getting right now with your buyers and sellers?
Rates are too high.
Rates are too high. What else? I didn't hear that. No money. That's a tough one. We need to get you some better leads. I take back everything I said earlier. I'm not a great fit for everyone. So honestly, and I tell my agent, sorry Brent, whenever you listen to this, but we'll have a rule, no assholes. We don't work with assholes. We just don't. And so, we just don't have that scarcity mindset. And so, honestly, when you have that honest conversation with those people and you do it in the right way and you approach it, you don't be the jerk and don't be confrontational in a bad way. You ask great questions and be like, what I'm hearing from you is that you're not really understanding the importance of any of these things that we said. And so I'm just curious. Maybe we're not a great fit. Maybe could I get you with another agent? Most of the time, they're like, oh no, I didn't mean it that way. I'm sorry, what do I need to do different? And now, who's the leader now? Or you move on to someone else that actually is going to listen. Either way, it's a win-win, right? So interest rates. You guys know interest rates are going to be a conversation with almost every person you talk to, right or right? Why are we trying to avoid it? Lean into it. Start with it up front. Handle objections in advance. Hey, I know that you're probably curious about interest rates in today's high interest rate economy. And that's completely normal. Guess what just happened? You entered the mind of the consumer. Wow, they know what I'm thinking. Versus them having to tiptoe around and not tell you the real reason why they're not wanting to move forward in one way or another, which may be interest rates. Don't wait on objections. Handle them up front. Number 3, base your next question on their response. Base your next question on their response. This is where we go way, way, way wrong. We think it's about what we say. And we're not in the conversation, and we're looking at our script. All right, next I got to do price. Next I got to do price. And we don't hear what they said. It's a conversation. It's really, really simple, but the better that you get at that, the better your conversations will go. Listen to understand versus listen to reply. Allow them to be the hero of their own story. You are just the guide. They are the hero. Step to the side and say something to, and I learned this from John Cheplack. It's just an honor to ride alongside you. It's just an honor that I get to ride alongside with you with the biggest purchase of your life. They feel special. They should. Number 5, great salespeople ask great questions. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should be listening twice as much as you talk. If they are talking more in the conversation, their perception of the conversation is it went way, way better. You ever had a conversation? Does anyone record their phone calls? One hand. All right, we need to have a conversation. How do you listen to your game film if you don't have any game film? Every single one of our phone calls in our organization is recorded through our CRM. They have dialers. It's recorded. We use Follow Up Boss. Yeah, I don't know the laws. I'm not a lawyer, so that's on you. I'm just saying that I know that there are systems out there that allow for that, and you consult your attorney, whatever that is. But if you can get consent from opt-ins with all this TCPA going, I don't know what all that it means for you guys in California. I don't have a clue. But if you have recordings of your conversations can be improved. Guess what we were playing a lot of our role plays? Guess what we play in a lot of our sales meetings? Recorded calls. Real time. So that we can learn from them. I even, if this is interesting to you, reach out to me, and I can connect you to, this is, again, I believe in proven, not theory. This is theory at this point, but I've got some connections of someone that has an AI bot they've developed that is going to play the role of my new sales manager for my recorded calls and give me summaries and coaching tips of what my agents did well, what they did not. So I'm really excited what that would look like, because now I don't have to spend hours and hours listening to calls. Someone else can, and they give me the highlights. So TBD on how that works, but it looks like it will work really, really good. But great salespeople ask great questions. And if you don't have your calls recorded, it's really hard to improve your calls, right? So make sure that you have some way of recording, and you need some way of improving. Even if it's nothing other than, has anyone ever botched a phone call before? Be like, oh, right after you're like, I wish I would have done this. Why didn't I do that? And we're like cussing ourselves, right? The good news is that's how you improve. So stop, write that down. And you know how I have gained a little bit of skills I've been able to gain? I've just screwed it up so many times. I've learned how not to do it, right? It just takes action. Self-discovery is the number one way to get a human being to make a choice and to take action. That's what we're trying to get buyers and sellers to do, right? Self-discovery. So great questions. Ask open-ended power questions. I've demonstrated some of those here today with you guys already, but stop asking questions, especially in your opener, that give them a no, that they can give you an out. Stop it. It just doesn't work. Build rapport, uncover issues, and learn their motivation by asking open-ended questions. We already covered this, but just another slide because it's really important. So I was wondering, what are the next steps you will need to take to buy a home? They will almost always say, I don't know. And it puts you back in a position of power where they realize, I do need help. 80% of your conversation should spend on motivation. Heart chooses, mind justifies. Don't get stuck on the perfect property. All right, let's have some fun with objections. Guys, most objections are not objections. I used an objection earlier. Did you guys hear it? Just looking. That's not an objection. Let's think about that for a minute. What do we want with buyers and sellers? Do we want people that are looking for real estate or not looking for real estate? Okay, so that's the simple one. But also, most objections are disguised as sales skepticism. What is sales skepticism? Do you know where we rank as real estate agents on the level of the trust of the consumer and salespeople? Just barely above used car salesmen. So knowing that is a fact, why do we think that when we pick up the phone and call them that they're just going to be ready, excited to talk to us? We have to earn that, right? So most objections aren't objections that are sales skepticism. Go to the root, go deep. Too many of us try to solve the objection before we really know what the objection is. Go deep, not wide. So we use interest rates. Can we all agree, show of hands, interest rates is an objection? Yes? And a legitimate one. I trapped you because the interest rates is not the objection. The objection is how the interest rates affect their buying or selling power. That's the objection. Do they know that? Or do they think that you are trying, now if you and they think interest rates are the objection, you have to change the interest rates to change their mind. Good luck. What I want to do and what I want to teach you how to do is to go deeper in how the interest rates may affect their mindset, their buying or selling power and situation. And so have anyone said, well, I'm going to wait for rates to drop? And then we're like, all right, cool. Me too. Right? Instead, awesome. I love that. So many people are. And I give them news, whatever it may value of, the Fed said this, whatever it may be. But just so I can have clarity and understand, what are you waiting for rates to drop to? How many of them know that answer? Not many. And then if they do, and if they do give you an answer, most of the time it'll be some pie in the, I'm waiting for them 5%. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. When rates get to 5%, what will that change in your situation? You guys see the power in this? We're helping them solve problems. I learned a long time ago when I first got into sales, I had to simplify. Again, superpower of mine is simplifying things. I'm a pretty simple guy. If you can solve problems, you make a sale. Sales is solving problems. Period. But we're trying to solve the interest rate problem, not the real problem, which is how the interest rates affects them. So whether it's a monthly payment, whether it's more buyers in the marketplace with the seller, specificity. How does this impact them? And we don't tell them. We guide them by asking great questions so they can discover it for themselves. Is that helpful? Guys, stop being surprised when we get an objection on the phone. We're at an open house and they got their wall up. Oh, I don't need to sign anything. Right? Why are we surprised by that? Why? We know that we are trying to help them. We know this and we know that, but they don't yet. Have some empathy. How many of you have made how many of you bought a car in the last couple years? It's a big purchase, right? When you look online and you register as a lead to look for a car, are you excited for that car salesman to call you? You guys get it? Okay, cool. Let's adjust our expectations. Let's realize, but if that car salesman did some of these things, who would you be buying a car with? Works the same, guys. However, we should be 10 times better because it's a home, not a car. Right? So stop being surprised. Your false expectations are ruining your sales. I go in expecting it. If I don't get an objection, that's when I get stumped. Oh, what? You want to meet today? I don't know how to do that. Right? Because that's just not normal. But that's how we run our business, is that's the only people we sell houses to. Scripts, dialogues, and talk tracks are great, but without the quality conversation, they mean nothing. Quality of the conversation is everything. Quit wishing that this business were easier. We're shooting at the wrong target, guys. I'm going to tell you a quick story about COVID. When COVID hit in our marketplace, and I know it affected everybody differently, but after the initial shock of, oh my gosh, I think we're all going to die, after that was over, and I realized, all right, I think we'll make through this. We just got to kind of navigate our way through what that looks like. Instantly, I doubled down in our business. Everyone else was backing off and panicking. I bought all the leads that I could buy. Did that twice in 6 months. Guess what happened to our business? Guess what my belief in our agents and our team and everything, what it compounded to for our company. Don't wish it were easier. Right now in this marketplace, I told you in my first full year I sold 74 homes. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm telling you it's truth. It's what it is what it is. And I worked really, really hard and I'm really proud of that. But one of the things that really strikes me that I see a mindset gap in a lot of agents is that they are like, well, this market's hard. It's tough. My first year, guess what everyone told me? Oh, you should have been here 2 years ago. It was so easy. Guess where my business is today? Because when I started, it was hard. And I was forced to become better. And guess where theirs is? It's a blessing. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. No one can ever take the skills that you grow and adapt during these hard times away from you. All right, value propositions. What's a value proposition first? You guys know? Cool. I've done a couple speeches on this. I think, again, and let me fill the room for a minute. If you were trapped in an elevator with me, and I was in your marketplace, and I was looking to buy or sell real estate, we got 30 seconds till we get to the next floor. And I say, Hey, why should I choose you to buy or sell my home? What do you say? Let's hear it. Why should I work with you? Experience. What else? Like it? What else?
Have a great team.
Have a great team.
I'm gonna listen to understand what you want.
Someone's been paying attention.
Yeah, I just tell them, what are you looking for? What's your ideal situation? What are you looking for in an agent?
Love it. And then they tell you, then what do you do?
Then I lead to that.
You got 30 seconds though. I'm going to the floor. You got to sell me. Hurry.
Yeah, well, why are you looking for that?
Why am I looking for what?
Well, when they tell me,
I need to sell my house and I'm looking for an agent. Why should I choose you? I love it.
Frankly, it's going to be one of the stressful experiences, and I'm going to help you move through that with very little stress.
Cool.
Because I know all the pitfalls.
Awesome. What else we got?
Then close them.
Is it fair to say that most of us kind of panicked and froze and I don't really know? Is that fair? Guess what I've asked this on stages many times, and guess what I normally hear? I'm the most experienced. I sell a lot of real estate. I'm trustworthy. I'll tell you the truth. It's just what I hear. Any of those thoughts popped in your head? Be honest. It's okay. It's not wrong. I just think that from this room, we can raise that bar, and those should be what they expect. That shouldn't be a value. That should be an expectation the consumer has for someone that's helping with the biggest purchase or sale of their life. Right? So I think we can do better. So I believe that we'll help you develop some value in just a second. But I also believe understanding why value is important and how to articulate it matters, which is why we did that little exercise. Because you can have the most value in the world, but if you don't articulate it, it will never be appreciated. Value unarticulated is value unappreciated. Value unarticulated is value unappreciated. You can have the most value on the planet, but if they don't understand the value, it's not valuable. All right, so my slides are out of or whatever. We'll roll with it. So the thing that, when we're talking value proposition, so like as an example, I love the people that ask questions, that you should. That's a great question. What is it that you're looking for? Right? Let's ask them. But then we got to get value at some point. We got 30 seconds and they're getting off on their floor and we're never going to see this person again. Right? How do we give value? And that's not a realistic scenario, but if we know it at that level, how much better are we able to articulate it? So I don't even sell real estate. Okay? Just transparently. I'm in the trenches every day, but I don't. I coach and train my agents and I coach other team leaders. But I know my value proposition from my organization like the back of my hand. If you're a seller, guess what? I believe I have solved every problem for every seller. I call it my worry-free listing program. Do you guys have something that's called, like, is buying or selling a home stressful? Is there a lot of worry? I'm so glad that you asked. That's one of the reasons that we have a worry-free listing program at Matt Smith Real Estate Group. You got to have a name to it. I'll unpack that in just a second for you guys. I have a slide of it so you guys can copy it. Cool. Pipeline management. So database management, we'll get to value propositions in a minute, but database management is lead to appointment. So pipeline management is appointment to close. They're separate. They're different. We treat them the same. Pipeline management versus database management. Oh, there we go. So what should you be tracking in your organization? You want to grow a scalable business? These are the things you should track. How many dials, conversations, appointments set, appointments met, signed, under contract, and closed. Here's an example of my team so far this year, the first 15 days of the year. 22 agents. We've had 694 conversations. Tell me this stuff doesn't work. 16.7% of our conversations led to an appointment. It means for every 100 people we talk to, 17 of those we set an appointment with. Pretty crazy, right? I teach them the same stuff I'm teaching you guys, right? So this is I was talking to someone earlier, this is Sisu is what we use if you want access to that. Like I don't have anything to do with them other than I've used them for a long time and I highly recommend them. I can get you a link to get you a discount. Just see me after and I'm happy to give you that if you're looking for something to track your numbers. But you see we have all those numbers tracked and I know the conversion metrics of all those numbers, not for our entire organization and for all my agents. I know how many conversations we've had, texts we've sent. I have data. I can run a business off of data. I can't run a business off of, well, I think I did. Here's an example of one of my agents. This is for her business last year. She set 100 listing appointments in 1 year. She met with 84 of them, 54 of them signed, 49 of them under contract, 31 of them closed. Do you know your numbers like that? Would it be beneficial if you did? Guess what else I can help coach her to now? Since I know that, how many of those 100 people do you think will list their home this year that she met with? There's 69 people there in a gap, people she already did the presentation with. But now that we know that, she's going to follow that follow-up script and provide value so that she doesn't have to get a new lead to get a new appointment. She can convert the appointment to a closing. Make sense? And this is our entire organization for last year. All of our metrics, so you guys can kind of see. Everyone asks me, what should the metrics be? People run their businesses in a different way. This is just transparency. This is our metrics for our entire organization last year. You have the percentages for each on the buyer side, seller side. Pipeline management. This is one of my agents, Kent. Dude's a workhorse, and he just works and works and works and works, and he wasn't getting the results that I thought he should. And so I dove into his business. One simple change changed everything. He writes his hot list every single day and puts it in his pocket. Who are the next 5 people that are going to transact? And what are your next step you're going to take with them today? Pretty simple. But how many, when I asked that, like, oh, I don't know. Because he was just going and going and going and wasn't pausing to say, am I actually calling the right people with the right intent, have the right conversation? It's really, really important when you're doing presentations and on the phone. You get one shot at a first impression. You better make it count. You only get one shot. Make sure you're prepared. All right, so you want to take a picture of this. This is, in order for it to be a hot buyer or a hot seller, in our organization, these things have to be done. Too many people to find a hot buyer or seller, and they're like, well, they told me they want to. Awesome. But are they actively looking at homes and ready to submit offers? Are they fully approved with the capacity to buy or sell? And, go back to conversation earlier, they have realistic expectations of the marketplace. Are they driven by a strong motivation? Do they need to buy or do they want to buy? They need to move within the next 90 days. If they don't, they're not hot. They're 100% committed to working with you, meaning they have an exclusive agency agreement. It's how we operate. It's signed. And if it's a buyer, we know their top 5 must-haves, and we went over them with them of what they're looking for in a home. And if you don't have all of those with someone that's in your A or B stage, if you stage it like we talked about earlier, guess what your next conversation's around? One of your next steps is checking one of those boxes off. And you're just inching closer and closer and closer to a transaction. Too many of us are just operating business by guesswork. Here's how important it is. Here's transparency. $4 million is a lot of money. Guess what I found when I analyzed my numbers for my business? Going back and looking at my numbers, I believe it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, there was a 12-month period where our appointment set to closed ratio, because we track everything, was really high. Like, we did really good. But we did it for 12 months. And so we've proven that we can do it. One of the standards I live my life by is that my accomplishment is my new standard. So it's not some pie-in-the-sky number that I came up with, but I compared that to where we were appointment set to closed in 2024. Nothing else changed. No more leads, no more conversations, just sticking to the standard we've already proven we could do and getting our pipeline from appointment set to closed was over $4 million in commission to our organization. That's how important these numbers are. What is yours? Does that make sense? Like, sometimes we're just guessing and we're just spinning our wheels, trying to help you get some traction. All right, so pipeline management. For listing appointments, make sure you have a pre-listing presentation. You have a pre-listing process and you have a listing presentation. You guys have that? Okay. Here's examples of what we send for our pre-listing packet. It's an automation that gets fired off every time we set an appointment. I'll go over what they are in a second. Let's play some guess what it is. Number one. I'll just go through it. We're running out of time. It's a video that introduces you, your team, and your background. Client reviews and testimonials. A copy of your marketing plan. List of your sales from the last 12 months. Samples of your marketing pieces that you have sold. And the contract so they can be prepared to sign when you come out. If you don't know where to start there. And every single listing appointment, they get that before you go. Most of them you win before you show up. Guys, your presentations are everything. Make sure you nail them, especially in today's society. We worked really hard to get to the appointment. Let's make the most of it when we're there. Let's build a relationship. Let's nail the presentation. Skip that. Here's our worry-free listing. I talked about creating an irresistible offer. What sets you apart? Going back to the elevator conversation, unique selling proposition. Here's our worry-free listing program. Number one, we offer flexible commissions. We let you pick the package that works best for you in your situation. We're not a one-size-fits-all company. Here's the secret. You think we flex up or down in commission? We flex up, but it's flexible. You guys hear me? Cancel anytime. I'm not going to hold you to a contract. Cancel anytime. You can sell it yourself while listed and pay us nothing. There are exclusions that apply. You have to have it, like, that sounds like a really good marketing play, right? You guys ever lost a listing because like, well, I think I can sell it to my neighbor. This allows you to go ahead and get the listing, and you can put exclusion. Let's put the neighbor in. If they buy it, I'll do the paperwork for this fee. We'll try to find another buyer to get you more money. You still get the listing because the neighbor never buys it, right? Instant cash offer. We developed a cash offer program, work with investors, work with express offers, whatever it is. But those are options that solve almost every single problem that a seller has that I've heard sitting across the table. Now we have a value proposition that is labeled, that we have a process around that are going to solve those objections in advance. Imagine if you had something like that for your business when you're in the elevator. Who are they going to choose? So really quick tips when you're at a showing. Rate every single property. Ask them on a 1 to 7 is my scale. Why 1 to 7? I don't know, because it's different. Makes them think. Rip up the paper in front of them if it doesn't meet a 5 or above. If they say, oh, that's a 4, and there's another one that was a 6, oh, thanks for telling me. Right in front of them. What does that do? It eliminates it. You guys ever had buyers like, my brain's exploding. I'm leading them and helping them eliminate what doesn't work because they told me it didn't, right? Another top 5 must-haves. It's my favorite phrase to say when we're in a property or we're in a showing is just a reminder, guys, we're not here to look at houses, we're here to buy them. Which one of these do we want to buy? Like I find ways to continually put that in because I'm leading. I don't know about you guys. I don't get paid to show houses. I'm not a chauffeur, right? Does that make sense? Like I remember my first hire was an assistant, and he's still with me today. He's one of my top performing agents. He sold 60 homes last year. But when he started with me, like 3 weeks in, he's like, dude, how are you selling these houses? You're not even showing any. So that's a really good observation. But I don't get paid to show houses. I get paid to sell houses. By doing this framework, you will do way less busy work and way more productive work. How to convert on a listing appointment. Show up on time. Send a pre-listing packet. Ask questions before you go. I'm curious, which someone asked in the elevator, which is great. What are the 3 things you're looking for in a real estate agent? And then guess what you show up as? Those 3 things. It's not rocket science. Remember what's in it for me. It's about them, not you. An observation, I had another person on market joined us. They were with an assistant for the top performing single agent in our area. And they came and shadowed me on the first listing appointment when they first joined on day 1. This is when I was still in the field. After the listing appointment, I asked for their feedback. They said, that was different. I said, how so? She said, you didn't say anything about your stats. You didn't say anything about how great you were. And it was all about them. I'm like, well, what'd you expect? Well, such and such, they literally bring a ranking report and say, I'm the number one agent, you should list with me. I said, awesome. And which one do you think is going to get the listing? Because it's not about me. It's about them. How do I make them feel? Really quick, give them options. So I mentioned flexible commissions. Instead of saying something like, hey, you ready to list your home? Which we've all been guilty. What if you said, thanks so much for having me today. I'm just curious, which package works best for you? This one or this one? Most of the time, they say, oh, this package. Guess what we have now? A listing, right? Instead of the weird, awkward chasing that we do. Oh, there you go. Oh, I believe what people do, not what they say. Remember, if you're at a listing appointment, do you guys do your listing appointments at their house? Yeah? Cool. Did you know that they know you're a real estate agent? And they invited you, a stranger that sells real estate, into their home to talk about real estate. But they said they're not ready to sell. Yeah. You put me there, you put Brent there, they're signing a listing agreement, or at least building a plan. We have to become better. Guys, real estate isn't about luck. Too many of those agents, most of those agents are now out of the business, right? The ones that came in at the right time and it was easy and it's good for all of us because now we become better. Clients get better service. It's a great thing. But I want to help you take back control of your business, build a scalable, repeatable business through this process, and focus on what actually works. Everyone says that this market is hard. This market is not hard. If you say it's hard, guess what? It's going to be hard. Let's talk about what is hard. Not having the money to pay your electric bill, that's pretty hard. I don't know about you, but I've been there. Talked about my back against the wall when I got in real estate. I had 3 months of electric bill stacked. No food in the fridge. That's hard. Not being able to take your family on the vacation that you promised them because mommy or daddy didn't sell as many houses as I thought I would. Got to cancel that vacation. That's hard. Sorry, Johnny, I couldn't get you that bike for Christmas. Mommy didn't sell enough real estate this year. Daddy didn't sell enough real estate this year. That's hard. You know what's not hard? Looking for a framework? Here it is. Have 22-minute conversations per week. It's not hard to do that. It's not hard to update your CRM every single day. It's not hard to update your pipeline every single week. It's not hard to host one open house per month. But literally in our organization, from teaching these things that we teach, if you do those things, you sell 20 plus homes per year. Crazy, right? But it's consistency, and it's doing those things over and over again. Those things aren't hard, so why don't we do them? Adjust your expectations, look yourself in the mirror, get rid of the entitlement that we all have in this industry, and choose your heart. Someone is going to win. Why not you? And why not now? Thank you, guys.